Got a good thing coming, and it's all I need. Everything I wanted is in front of me. Stuck it up in the dark, sun is shining over me. I got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good,
Welcome to the Coaching Corner and happy 2026. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Nancy. Hello, Nancy.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good question. So today we're talking about when do you feel emotionally exhausted? Do you feel emotionally exhausted? What's the cause of that? And we're going to cover quite a really good information today. Why? We know it's very good. We definitely got the best information is because we've got one of the best authors in the world's book in front of us, which is John Maxwell, who wrote his new book called High Road Leadership, an incredible book. And somewhere amongst the qualities of being a wonderful, amazing high road leader is to have resilience and develop what we call EC, which is emotional
Capacity.
capacity. Yes. Yeah. So the best way to describe capacity is like if I can fill up this cup. Let's say it's got 300 mils. I only have 300 mils, and once I've used it, I don't have any more. The same goes with your emotional ability to deal with problems. If you only got a cup full, you ain't going to last if things keep going wrong or there are a lot of problems. But imagine if this was a huge bucket or a swimming pool. Or imagine a massive dam. So to be an effective leader who can withstand tough times and go through all kinds of changes when people need a leader to be there for them, the leader needs emotional capacity. And Nancy is going to tell you that parents are leaders, and you are a leader even if you're not a parent, even if you're not got a team, or you're not even in corporate. You could even be a teenager listening to this.
Which we hope so.
Yeah, we are all leaders.
The best thing that John Maxwell did in this book, High Road Leadership, is actually put in a section, a whole paragraph, a whole chapter just dedicated to emotional capacity. When I read this, I was blown away. By far, the best book so far. I mean, John Maxwell's got over 100 books and the world's #1 authority and author on leadership has put this in his book, and I think it's one of the best books. Don't you agree? And when he put this in, because myself and Janine are Heal Your Life facilitators, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life trainers, facilitators, and coaches, we were blown away. The content in here is definitely whether you are a mum, a dad, someone who's in corporate, like Janine mentioned, or anyone running a business, or just for yourself. This is a very, very, very important part in leadership. If you do not have emotional capacity, you cannot lead. And leadership is influence. So it doesn't matter. If you're a mum, like I was for 13 years at home, you need to be able to have emotional capacity because you are going to be faced with so much.
Yeah, and you need to show up for your team, you need to show up for your family, whoever it may be. So this might go on to more than one episode of the Coaching Corner. So today we're going to just start with maybe part 1. And we're going to talk about how to increase your emotional capacity, because your emotional capacity is your pathway to resilience. So the very, very first thing is to refuse to see yourself as a victim. So a victim has no power because it's always going to be someone else's fault. And as long as the thing that's causing your troubles in life is outside of you, you've got zero power. And I know it sounds simple, but you know, Nancy and I are in personal development. People say they take responsibility and they see themselves as victims. I just say the answer is generally partly.
Yes.
Partly. People say they don't have a victim mentality, but when something happens, they often say, look what she made me do, and that person made me feel this way, and this has happened to me because of that circumstance or that circumstance. And John Maxwell says here, it disempowers you. You don't even have the power to fix your problems if you have a victim mentality. So, Nancy, you want to talk about a couple of the qualities about people who actually have a victim mentality and how they kind of view the world, their perception?
Okay, so generally most of them say that bad things have happened in the past and they will continue to happen in the future. So that is giving away your power, all there in one thing, and assuming that just because you've had one bad incident, it's just going to keep happening. And it's almost like I feel sorry for myself,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's on continuous. Now, throughout this whole book, and especially throughout this chapter, I would say John really talks about choices. We have choices, and I drum this home all the time to my kids. You have a choice every day. You can take the high road or the low road. We can either go in this direction, which is going to take us up, and we're going to have, you know, of course, difficult times, and sometimes we're going to meet with, you know, scenarios that we don't like. But it's how we handle it and the choices that we make. Or we can take the low road and then keep going down, dwindling right down. And when we get there, really, we lose a lot of people around us. We lose ourselves. Nobody wants to be around a victim. Nobody wants to be around someone who feels sorry for themselves, so it's emotionally draining. Another tendency is others to blame for the misfortune. So I didn't get the promotion at work because somebody
Because
else.
my boss is an idiot.
Yes, okay, that's one thing. Or you made me feel like this, and therefore I couldn't show up today for my best self. Or this incident happened, and if that person didn't do that, then I wouldn't be who I am today. There are so many things that you could blame the outside world for. But can I just say, you create your own reality. And you need to know that you do. You need to know that every minute of every day, you're creating your own reality. Sorry, guys, I know you may not like it, but you are responsible for you, nobody else. Okay, nobody else is putting a gun to your head and saying you've got to take this road. You taking the road that you choose to take. Choices.
Yeah.
Another thing is, he's got it here in the book. There is no point in trying to make a change because it will not work. Again, very much helplessness, hopelessness, giving up. What's the word you like to say? You told me about it quite often.
Nancy always comes up with these difficult questions. in the spur of the moment. I'm not too sure what it is. Being
Defeatist.
Oh, defeatist mentality.
Thank you.
Yeah, so having a victim mentality is bad enough. A defeatist mentality is even worse. It's when you permanently think there's no point in trying to make a change
Yes.
because it will not work. In fact, you've given up mentally even before you've considered a solution. So seeing yourself as a victim is draining for the people around you. It's miserable to work around people like that. And when it comes to success in life, there is no way. There is absolutely zero way. It's like maths. 2 + 2 is 4. It can never be another number. The same way, if you have a victim mentality, you can never be a high road leader. You can't even be an effective leader. You can't even be a middle road leader. We're not talking about middle, high, and low today, but you can know what that is. Middle is just like, you know, if you do good for me, I'll do good for you, and things will always be even. High road gives more than they take, but we can't even be a leader, period, if you've got a victim mentality. So the way to get around it is, number one, take responsibility for your life. I want to quickly tell the story. I was listening to something just this weekend, like a documentary, and they actually ran a course on a group of people to help them actually develop the mindset that you're responsible for everything in your life, which we are, but don't always want to believe. And guess how long the course was?
No idea. What, a couple of days?
It was 5 years. So it takes 5 years, they said, for a person to go through a program, an actual course, to get to the point where they stop blaming anybody or anything for the results in their life and take full responsibility. And this is such an important point. We must take responsibility for everything in our life, because when you don't, all you do is become a blame stormer and a victim, and you can't fix your problems with that kind of mentality.
So there's a couple of areas that you could possibly take, well, you must take responsibility for, and because it's you, it's all about what you can change, okay? Because you can't change anybody else, but you can change yourself. So I'm going to start with attitude, because that's my favorite. If you've got the right attitude, okay, and you know that you're responsible for it, then you'll either fix it, acknowledge that your attitude isn't great, or acknowledge, yeah, I've got the right attitude, but you are the only one in charge of that. You are the only one in control of your attitude. And that is how you show up every day. How you show up every day is so important, because Of course, nobody wants to be around someone who's got bad attitude.
And that's how I got to work with Nancy. When I met her, she was looking to help me, and I was looking for someone to help me. I even prayed for someone. And Nancy, I asked her, this is quite a funny story, I asked her to send me her resume or CV, and I received this email. It didn't really contain anything but like 9 little words underneath each other, like organizing. I'm good at organizing. I'm good at social media. I'm good at planning. And I thought, is this the sum total of the resume? But
Yes.
then, just as I thought, this is just never going to work for me. I came from corporate, and I knew what a resume looked like, and it certainly wasn't that. But then I remember John Maxwell in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I actually studied with the John Maxwell team. Nancy and I are both John Maxwell team members. And I was going through that book with a mentor, and he said, when you hire people, don't hire people on their experience. They may have all this wonderful experience and their CVs loaded with nice words. Don't hire people just for their expertise. They've got 6 degrees and 2 doctorates and all this expertise. See, they may have those things, great, look at them, no doubt about it. But the thing you actually hire them on is attitude. And Nancy, I did embrace you, and I knew that because Nancy had a can-do attitude when I met her. She may not have had the right resume or CV, didn't do that.
Yeah, but you got to put it into context, right? Because I was a stay-at-home mum for 13 years, okay? I really didn't do anything else. So I really didn't have a CV, so to speak.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter at the time because I learned from the John Maxwell team. and I just found Nancy had just a can-do attitude. I don't know how to do this, but I'll do my best. And she did really well. And how do you do that? Teach me. And she wrote 1,000 notes, and she started doing that thing. And now she does absolutely everything. She basically runs this place. I just show up here and train and speak on my best days. But without joking around, attitude is so important. And it is about your mentality and being a victim, not being a victim. Your attitude is everything. The other thing I want to talk about, not being a victim and taking responsibility, is for your time. People who say, oh, I don't have time. I can't do this, I don't have time. You have time. You have the same time as a person who owns 9 companies. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with your time. So it's prioritizing or not prioritizing. So,
which is one of the great ways of taking, responsibility and not being a victim is your priorities. Like identify what they are. What is important to you? Like we were talking about this earlier. Oh, it's January. Everybody's going to the gym. Let's all sign up. I'm sure the gyms are busting with people signing up because this is their year of getting healthy. And
go to the gym in September.
And
it's empty.
I was talking to Janine on Sunday. I'm saying it's not a priority for me. I did all of that in my 20s and 30s, and I was a gym junkie, So I'm not really interested in that. It's not my priority, but I do have other priorities for health. What I'm saying is I've identified what my priorities are, and I'm responsible for them. Not Janine, not the gym, not a partner, not a friend. You're responsible for them,
So just quit saying the words, I don't have time, and replace them with, it's not a priority for me right now. And never say, I didn't do that thing because I never had time. Change your words, cancel, and say, I never made it a priority. Because the minute you say, I never made it a priority and that's why I didn't do it, you're taking responsibility and you're making yourself more self-aware of what you chose to make a priority. Because let me tell you this, anything that's your priority, you do.
Yes.
Anything.
Yeah.
So it's all about that. And then another one of things you can do to take responsibility is?
Potential. So potential is your own personal growth. So who is going to come to your aid? Nobody. You are responsible for your own personal growth, for finding out what your potential is, your God-given potential, I would say. And in developing it, you don't rely on somebody else to develop your potential for you or go to classes or learn new things. You do. You're responsible for that. And I can honestly say you cannot blame it on anything. If you choose, again, as a priority not to invest in yourself, and then you see your colleagues or your friends, going up the ladder or becoming different, and then you're feeling that you're left behind, it's because you didn't make it a priority.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The other thing I really love is when people say, because I'm quite a passionate person, not because I'm Italian, just because I'm passionate, okay? They're not related, but they sometimes are. But they say, I wish I had your passion. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're responsible for your passion. No one can become the reason for your passion. You've got to take ownership of your passion. People who say, I wish I had your passion, are actually saying, I'm going to just sit back passively, and I hope that someone comes along and inspires me to take action right now, or someone comes along and motivates me enough that I can take action right now. That's not how life works. If you're going to wait for someone to inspire you or motivate you to get something done, you cannot be a leader and you cannot be successful. So when it comes to take responsibility, you take responsibility for your own passion.
I think John Maxwell says that he can't help you and neither can anybody else in that department.
Yes.
He says if
Yes.
you can't ignite that passion in
Yes.
you, there's nothing. He actually says there's nothing I can do for you as the number one.
Yes, as a mentor in your life.
And of leadership. This is John Maxwell. If you've ever been in his presence, you are totally transformed. If he can't help you because of that one thing, who do you think's responsible? You. So that goes into your calling. I've had a lot of people say, you're so lucky you found your calling. There's no such thing as luck. It's got to do with all those things that we've just spoken about. And it's up to me only, or Janine herself, to be responsible for the gifts and opportunities. These are God-given gifts. I'm grateful for them every day, that I can do what I do, but I take the initiative. I go out there and invest in myself or do the personal development because, again, I'm responsible for them, just like you are in your field. And nobody else gave that to me on a silver platter. I had to work hard for that. So, again, it's a you and you deal. Yeah.
And that's something that you need to work out. We can do a whole show on that. In fact, we run a course called the Silver Method where we talk about life purpose and your calling. But really, it's just very simple. You have got natural inborn talents and gifts, and you do have a natural inborn passion. And there's a saying that helped me in my life, guide me to what I'm doing today, which is this. In your passion lies your God-given purpose.
Yes.
And why it's that way is because what you're passionate about, you are already gifted in. It is your calling. You do have gifts. And sometimes we think they've got to be these special, specific gifts that we identify as gifts. Well, Nancy's a very good organizer, much better than what I am. So when we get together, she makes this business much better. She brings her gift. That's an actual gift. It is. It's a strength of hers. And there's many other things, but I'm talking about this one. If speaking was something I've been good at since I was a child and always got awards for, even I used to do speech and drama as a little 8 or 9-year-old, I can use that gift to add value to others, which is training or speaking today. And that's what I do. So you do have gifts, and that's your calling. All right. So another thing we want to touch on is not seeing yourself, refusing to see yourself as a victim. We've spoken about take full responsibility. What's the next one, Nance?
Don't build your life around your troubles. Like, we're so focused on being in the depth of our problem, we forget to be a problem solver. Be a person that works on solutions. And ask yourself, do I really go there and just stay there? Am I a problem solver, or do I just think, well, this is the problem, I'm going to base my whole life around these sort of things? And then again, you go down that spiral,
Yeah.
So
I just want to say, when you catch up with someone and they say, how are things going for you? And you start telling them about your problems and you enjoying that conversation, you have a problem.
It's like, I have a problem, you have a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
If you said to someone, I've got this problem, but hey, I've got this solution, or I'm thinking about the solution, or do you have any ideas for me? It's about being a problem solver. Leaders are problem solvers, and the more problems you solve, the more successful you are. I love Laura Silva, Jose Silva's daughter. She always says, when you have to go around the room and introduce yourself, something about yourself, she always says, hi, my name is Laura Silva, and I'm a great problem solver.
What a great thing to have.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. All right, Nance, what's next?
Make action your priority. And I think a lot of us procrastinate. We don't take action. We are ones that maybe want to do something, but we don't actually get there. So again, priorities goes into that, that list that we just told you about, and how it's really important if you're not taking action, you're procrastinating. And if you're procrastinating, maybe you've got a bit of perfectionism. And if you've got a bit of perfectionism, then
Have you got a problem with shame?
yeah, and then this takes us all the way back to a program that both Janine and I are certified in called Love Yourself, Heal Your Life. This is why this chapter in this book is so, so important, because if you do not uncover these childhood wounds, you don't have resilience. You're only, working, or what I'd say, operating from your childhood patterns and wounds. So up comes, if I can't take action, if I'm procrastinating, if I'm waiting for it to be perfect, where is my problem? Where's the root of the problem? And you'll find that it's shame. A lot of the times
Comes
it's shame.
from what age?
0 to 5, maybe even 7.
Yeah, 0 to 5.
And I can even say, it even sometimes goes through to your teenage years. I mean, I know 0 to 7 is a program, we're being programmed, through your peers and, who you're around, the church, community, family.
Parents.
Yep. But I do know that when you get into the age gap between 7 and 16, you still are being programmed.
Absolutely.
We still are going to school. We still are around people. So it's really important to recognize and acknowledge, if I do have a pattern of doing this,
Not taking action.
where does it come from?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else we got?
Now, one thing you can see is a person who's got a victim mentality is 99.9% of the time ungrateful. So gratitude, expressing gratitude, is a way to take responsibility and refusing to have a victim mentality. And we can always express gratitude, even when things go wrong. You can find things to be grateful for to bring yourself back into a positive feeling state, because you can't solve your problems from a negative feeling state. Negative thoughts give negative outcomes. Simple.
Yeah.
Positive thoughts give positive outcomes. It's simple. So when we have problems and we're negative about our problems, hoping for a solution, it's literally mathematics or physics. It cannot happen, because you're going to attract into your life the equal feeling tone, situations that equal that feeling tone. You get what you think about, what you feel, the same feeling. So gratitude is one of Nancy's favorite things, and myself, our gratitude journal every single day. But we're talking about in a problem situation.
That's when you need it the most.
Yeah, to have.
I would say that if you are in a very bad situation, and this situation could be anything, personal or at work, you need to be grateful, because there's always something that you can be grateful for. And I know that if I've had a bad day, or not such a great day, I mean, I try and catch myself as much as possible. I don't focus on what's happened. I focus on what's so good about it. I got a learning out of it. I managed my emotions, or I realized that, how I'm feeling and I can express it. Or I know that whatever happens, I'm always looked after. I'm going to be okay. There's so many things that you can draw out of it. So what we're saying is, when you are grateful in the most horrible times, or the most difficult times, or the most challenging times of your life, you will manifest what you want a lot more. You will. Rhonda Byrne says it. She says it's actually one of the things that we don't have gratitude for. We always focus on, when things are great, we're so grateful for, the promotion we got, or the extra money that's in our bank account, or whatever it may be, or the love that we found. But we never ever focus on, when things are really bad, what is some of the things I can be grateful for? And it could be something as simple as going home to a clean bed, or to air conditioning on a hot day, or to the fact that I can drive and I don't have to take public transport on a hot day. There's so many things. So bringing your attention there is really important in manifesting, and it teaches you, gratitude teaches you to pick up on the really good things in your life, even when you can't see them. So there's faith there. There's a knowing that I can't see that it's great now, but I know that there's so much that, I can be grateful for. I think it's one of my best things. I love it. I really do.
Should I tell the story about the flooding toilet?
Yeah, that's a great story about gratitude.
So I just, Nancy and I are very big fans of Rhonda Byrne, and we both have got the book, The Magic, which is a program we've actually done on gratitude. So I just got a phone call between Christmas and New Year that one of my rental properties had a flood inside the upstairs of a double-story townhouse and was really bad. The water went right through the upstairs floor, the ceiling of the bottom floor, down below, and it was due to a blocked toilet. So and then you ask the question, well, who blocked the toilet and how did the toilet get blocked? So in the moment I got the news, like I think you were talking earlier about choices, if I missed that.
Yeah.
You do talk about choices all the time. You have a choice in every moment if you're going to go down a negative path or to try and be grateful and positive, with positive expectations and, act like a leader, a person who takes responsibility. So in the moment I got the news, I could have got hold of the agents and started blaming the tenant and what happened and causing a whole big thing. It was already done. I can't change it. No matter how much I rant and go on and on about how was it created, it doesn't really change anything. So let's just deal with what we have. That's the first thing about taking responsibility, is deal with reality. Now, I train a program called the Silva Method, SILVA, and we do something, this might be very different for some people if you haven't heard of this before, but in the Silva Method, we do remote healing. But you can actually do remote anything. It's just energy, this whole universe energy. So I actually used the Silva Method technique, and as I would do remote healing, I did remote restoration of the carpets, because a guy went there to give me a quote, and he said, Janine, your carpets flooded is much worse than the photos, and I thought it would be 1,500, but it's not going to take 4 to 5 days to dry this. We need to put our dryers on for a minimum of 10 days. Everything is so soaked, the wood, the panels, the skirtings, everything. We need about 10 days. This is going to cost you about $5,500 instead of 1,500. So I decided to use the Silva technique, and I used it actually every single day. When I woke up in the morning, I did it, or when I went to bed at night, I did it, and I was remotely like drying these areas with a lot of creativity. Anyway, on the 4th day, I got a phone call from the guy who's doing the carpet restoration saying, it's unbelievable, he cannot believe it, but everything is bone dry. It's absolutely restored, and my invoice is only going to be 1,500 plus GST. Now, when I was doing the Silva Method technique, and we do whatever we're doing, the one thing, which is what we're talking about, we feel gratitude before we've got the thing. Gratitude, like, I know this is going to be fun. You said a knowing. I heard you saying knowing with all your energy there in the camera. Knowing. It is that knowing. It's that faith that you have. And it's Neil Donald Walsh who says, gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. So if you want to take responsibility for your life, have a positive mindset, take responsibility, and take the action. We were talking about action. And also have gratitude for how like this has happened, but everything around your life, you still have things to be grateful for. And have gratitude that you know it's going to work out and your problem will be solved. And you have gratitude for that too. So you don't have the result yet, but you actually have so much faith in the result that you have great gratitude. This is a game changer. I know this sounds very like a woo-woo or airy-fairy. It absolutely works.
I think a whole show needs to be dedicated to gratitude. I can honestly say it is one of the most untapped, unused methods of getting what you want, living a great life, living a life of peace, living a life of surrender without an attachment, being able to be of sound body, mind, soul, spirit. I can just go on. I think it's one of those things that we think is so small, and maybe, oh yeah, gratitude, it's okay, and oh yeah, I'll just write a few things. I'm telling you, it has changed my life. It really is. The knowing, the faith, the understanding, the pure joy, it just comes from inside. I don't know how to explain it really. So I think there is a whole show dedicated to that. We'll talk about that later on another show. But anyway, yeah, so gratitude, we spoke about that. What's next?
Okay, so just to sum up, in the book it says the bottom line is that if you see yourself as a victim, you give your power away. So when it comes to developing emotional capacity, the very first thing is to refuse to have a victim mindset. And if you've got children, teach them to refuse to have a victim mindset, refuse to blame anyone or anything, take responsibility. So now we're on to number 2, how to develop emotional capacity, which is EC, is to not only be able to control your emotions, but to process them, and to process them quickly. Because if you don't process your emotions quickly, you have problems throughout your adult life. So we run, as Nancy was saying, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life for adults, and we run a teenage course. We just finished one this weekend. It was absolutely beautiful for teenagers called Teens Empowerment Play Shop. And a big segment of these two workshops was both based on Louise Hay's philosophy. There's a big segment in both of them on how to deal with emotions, and we actually do deal with emotions right there and then. So in your life right now, I know any single person can find a couple of things that you are actually angry about right now. There are things that you feel guilty about right now. There are things that you are fearful of. You might deny it, but if I gave you time and said just relax and pause and grab a pen and paper and reflect and journal, you'll come up with these things. So to process your emotions, we have to run workshops on this because people don't do it. If they were processing the emotions, they wouldn't have to come to these classes, and we can all process emotions better because kids don't know how to do it properly. Hence, as adults, we got all these problems in our lives, whether they're illness in the body, poor relationships, broken trust, feelings of betrayal, bad relationships. We keep hooking up with things that go wrong for us. It comes from childhood, not processing emotions correctly, and it snowballs into the results of our life today.
Yeah, and I think one of the easiest things to do, and what we don't generally do, is when, say, for instance, we're getting angry, or when we are angry, we lash out. Okay, it's not hard to do. It depends on what's going on in your life or the type of day you've had, or maybe you're going through a challenging time, and we tend to lash out. But what I have taught, and I think it was Paul Martinelli that said, acknowledge that I'm angry right now, or I'm feeling angry, and tell the person I'm feeling angry, because women access their sadness more than they access their anger. So they'll cry, and men will get angry and they'll want to punch a wall or something like that. And what we need to do is flip it. We need to get women to access their anger and say, I'm feeling angry right now, and probably expel the energy. We do quite a bit in the class. I don't really want to tell you what we do because you have to come to the class. But you can go for a run, you can go to the gym, you move the energy. And if you're a male, you need to access
Sadness.
Yes, you need to cry. And please, I know maybe as a child or a teenager, or even as a man, they say don't cry. Boys don't cry. That's a load of BS. You are to cry. You are to express your emotions. You will only get in touch with who you really are and learn to love who you are as a young boy or a little boy if you express your emotions and cry. And it makes you a person that is has more emotional capacity, makes you a person that can be relatable, makes you a person that tunes into your masculine energy, so your partner can tune into her feminine energy. So there's a whole lot of science, a whole lot of research about this. What we're saying is that when you talk about it, you say I'm angry or I'm sad, you acknowledge it, which is really important, then you are able to process it, because once you've said it out loud, isn't it, you find that when people talk about it, and we're in the class, and they actually talk about it, sometimes just talking about it makes them cry.
Absolutely. So expression.
They haven't had a chance
The
to.
minute you acknowledge your emotion and express it, you are already halfway better.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to read this. It says, to work well with people, so if you're in a workplace or in your family or amongst friends, to work well with people and make good decisions, which are at the heart of high road leadership, you can't let emotions overwhelm you. So that's just in simple terms, you either control your emotions or your emotions control you.
Well, no one wants to work with anyone who always is
Emotional.
going off their
Absolutely.
mind,
You can't control the emotions. So we've got a couple of things that we can recommend here on what you can do. But before we do that, there's a statistic, Nancy, you were talking to me about this 95%. Maybe you want to tell people this 95%.
Yeah, so psychologists have discovered that 95% of our emotions are determined by how we speak to ourselves throughout the day.
Our self-talk.
Yeah, our self-talk.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if you are talking bad things, doom and gloom,
Running yourself down.
victim,
Negative.
yep, that is going to determine how you're going to feel that day. And it makes sense, right? So we can, like we said, you catch the pattern. I think we talked about, Esther Hicks talks about it takes 17 seconds for you to correct that thought. And after that, if you don't correct it, you go down another, notch.
Some of the thoughts.
Yeah, on the emotional ladder. If you haven't heard of the emotional ladder, you can look up Esther Hicks' emotional ladder. So what we're trying to do is to not get that low, because it takes a hell of a lot of energy to go up the emotional ladder and get back to at least being grateful, or what I would call like the middle rung of the ladder, which is, what do you call it?
Neutral.
Yeah, thank you for those words. Neutral, yeah.
Yeah, so our thoughts gather momentum and you just keep staying with a negative thought, if you don't stop it. So the first 17 seconds, do your best to pause and think. So John Maxwell's got a recommendation here how to actually process your emotions. A couple of points. The one is, he says every single person, every single day should sit by themselves at the end of the day, including children, and reflect. And you ask yourself, what happened in my world today? And actually journal it. So you reflect on your day. The next thing you can ask is, you think about yourself. What did I learn about myself today? Not necessarily what you learn, that you can also journal, but what did you learn about yourself? Did you handle your emotions well? Did they control you? Did you lose your temper? Did it get you angry? What was it? Because as you reflect, you learn about yourself. And then what Nancy was saying about 95% of our emotions are determined by our self-talk. Well, it's got their talk to yourself. And this is really important. So as you're going through anything, you can say, this is a disaster. This is just going to kill me. Cancel. Or we could say, all right, let me just think for a minute because I need to find a solution here. And as you say that, your brain is busy working towards a solution. Your self-talk, everything you say, starts to turn the wheels, the cogwheels, so to speak, in your mind to help you get there. So negative thoughts give negative outcomes. Positive thoughts give positive outcomes. How we talk to ourselves is very important. What else we got there?
How did I direct myself? So self-reflection is amazing, fantastic, absolutely what Janine said. But what am I doing? What am I with all this that I've learned? What am I going to do with it? Am I going to sit on it and do nothing? Or, should I apply what I've learned? And that's really important, because a lot of people learn very well. What do we call them?
I love the saying. Thank you for the opportunity. I love this. It says, people are addicted to information, but allergic to application.
Thank you. I think that sums it up, right, guys? So the choice is yours. You can.
That's the application.
Yeah, and there's also people who have got shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
They love to learn, which is great. I love learners. But are you applying what you've learned? Or are you just adding that into your little compartment here? I've learned this. Oh, I've done this course. Oh, I've done that course. I've heard so many people say, oh, I've been to Joe Dispenza. Oh, I've done Dr. Bruce Lipton's work. Oh, I've done this.
Yes, they're very good at that.
But your life hasn't changed, has it? Now, that's the interesting part.
Yep, there's something about self-development. You put everything onto all the books up there on the bookshelf and you call it shelf-development. All right.
And the last one?
No, it's taking action.
Yes.
This is what you said.
Yes.
Application. So, will I follow through with the actions that I know will make me improve, will make me better, and then re-enter life with your learnings, and that's called improvement. So we spoke about developing emotional capacity, which helps with your resilience. If you need any help with developing your ability to deal with emotions, or you need more resilience, or your children need more resilience, that's what Nancy and I do, and we love doing it, and we serve people with our whole heart. We run Love Yourself, Heal Your Life for adults, a 2-day workshop.
Yep.
And we also run the Teens Empowerment Play Shop, which is based on the same philosophy, but just obviously completely adapted for children. And I must just tell you, we had these children on these 2 days, and the way they were when they walked in the room to the way they were on day 2 was so transformed. Their confidence levels went up. Their self-esteem went up. Their sense of self-worth went up. They were even saying how much they loved everything that they're doing, and they cringed the first time they did it on day 1. They used those words. It was like cringe. They said I was cringing. It was so weird. It was so awkward. And they said it was easy and it was fun. And even the way that they looked at themselves in the mirror and absolutely loved the person that they saw, which is so important for a young teenager to become successful, because authenticity is the name of the game. And when a person doesn't like themselves, they put a mask. Even you're listening, you've got several masks. You show up at work in a certain way, you show up with certain people in a certain way. But the more you heal all your inner child wounds, we take the masks off and we become truly authentic. And that's why Nancy and I love Brené Brown's work. We've done many shows on it, which is on Mixcloud, the Meaningful Monday show. When we were on the radio, we recorded several shows on that if you're looking for that. Great resources. Otherwise, we want to thank you. And can I just end off what it says here? It says, every time you process negative emotions, redirect yourself to positive emotions, learn from the situation, and act on what you've learned. You take a positive big step towards increasing your emotional capacity.
And I think part 2 next week. So we'll see you next time on the Coaching Corner.